welcome. I'm doing shout outs, so leave your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Bastian. Shout out to Jenny. Thank you for subscribing, Bastian. Shout out to, is it Michelle? Shout out to Itzel. Leave a like if you enjoy the live stream. I'm doing shout outs. Shout out to V. Welcome. Shout out to Brittany. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Vicente. Shout out to Ronan. Shout out to Bright. Thank you, Itzel, for your support. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Orozco. Shout out to Valeria. Shout out to Rose. Sorry, I put your username. Shout out to Masha. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Janae. Shout out to Ari. Thank you for subscribing. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Shout out to Lincoln. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Sherry. Shout out to Charlie. Leave a like if you enjoy my live streams. Shout out to Aaliyah Klein. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Delay. Sorry if I mess up your name. Shout out to Prince Lorenz. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Demo. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Shout out to Sadim. Shout out to Princess. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Phoebe. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Landon Henry. Shout out to Langston. Shout out to Skylar. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Manessa. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Shout out to Daria. Shout out to Lorax. Shout out to Victoria. Thank you for subscribing. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Jacelyn. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Tamara. Shout out to Hafia. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Zoe. Leave a like if you're enjoying the shout outs. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Valeria. Shout out to Felicity. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to Luis. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Peyton. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Lucy. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Debriana. Shout out to Travis. Leave a like if you're enjoying my shout outs. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Catalea. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lane. Shout out to Isla. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ronan. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sahi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Stevie. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Halo. Shout out to Jocelyn. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Tio. Shout out to Ayush. Shout out to Roa. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to So Iconic. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Tanya. Shout out to Annabella. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Donovan. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Ria. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Finley. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Lonella. No, what was the name? Is it Ionella? Or is it Lonella with an L? Shout out to Carmen. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Met Girl. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Remy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Aria. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jess. Shout out to Ayla. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Alika. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Shania. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Kareem. Shout out to Casey. Thank you for subscribing. Shania, I got you right here. Shout out to Casey. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Hope. Oh, wrong color. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Daphne. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Natalie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Vonnie. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Mai. Shout out to Abel. Shout out to Mooney. Shout out to Tessa. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Ria. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Jill. Shout out to Kamora. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and my shout outs. Thank you for being here. Let me put here. This is my YouTube channel, NessDIYcorner. On to the next page. Thank you for being here. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. hermoso. Thank you for your patience. Here we go. Shout out to Winnie. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Mel. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Francisco. Shout out to Hope. Shout out to Adita. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rowan. Shout out to Safa. Whoopsie. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Carolyn. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Angeline. Shout out to Arabella. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Kanaya. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my content. Shout out to Mello. Shout out to Carla. Shout out to Roger. Shout out to Layden. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Sumapo. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mayo. Shout out to Cindy. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Sion. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Zipporah. Shout out to Ela. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Thorian. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Odette. Shout out to Anise. Shout out to Jessica. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Show Me. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Pi. Shout out to Gary. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Mila. Shout out to Rhea. Or Rhea, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Potato. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. We're almost at 100 likes. Shout out to Sumati. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Ardavan. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Fern. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Tavi. Shout out to Tilly. Shout out to Crystal. We're only 20 likes away from 200. Shout out to Ilva. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Muna. Shout out to Tommy. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Darcy. Shout out to Levi. Shout out to Jasmine. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Goose. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Janet. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Fanny. Shout out to Umaira. Shout out to Apple. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Akira. Shout out to Noel. Shout out to Annie. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my shout outs. We're almost at 100 likes. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Koi. Shout out to May, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Prince Lorenz. Shout out to Alani. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Nyla, or Neela, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Zumra, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Chloe. Thank you for 100 likes. Shout out to Ada. Shout out to Madison. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Carmela. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Nishan. Shout out to Olivia. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my content. Shout out to Boyd. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Mari. Shout out to Lola. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my shout outs. Shout out to Faria. Shout out to Dora. Shout out to Raphael. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Isa or Asa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Elsa. Shout out to Advik. Shout out to King Vaughn. Shout out to Sky. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Aisha. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Mafusa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ruthie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Enrique. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Subscribe to my channel if you like the shout outs. I also post other content, so check it out as well. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Azalea. Shout out to Nevea. Shout out to Gian. Shout out to Haley. Shout out to Haven. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Fleur and Lars. Shout out to Tanhita. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Marzia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Zeronica. Shout out to Shelly. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Zia or Zaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Umaira. Shout out to Leela. Shout out to Ellie. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the shout outs. Shout out to Jojo. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Tana. Shout out to Hazira. Shout out to Kanaya. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the shout outs. Shout out to Tazen. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Darian. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Kathy. Shout out to Dandy. Shout out to DeBrianna. Shout out to Shannon. Shout out to Fatima. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Landon. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Beachy. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Bella. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Gio. Shout out to Selkai. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lottie. Shout out to Nuvin. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Hafiza. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Nahir. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to Jasmine. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Gray. Shout out to Francis. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Shireen. Shout out to Isla. Shout out to Raf. Shout out to Suya. Or Saya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Kay. Shout out to London. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Keisha or Kaisha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Artek. Shout out to Cabela. Shout out to Idaner. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Vivian. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the shout outs. Shout out to Corbin. Shout out to Kaya. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Elliot. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Jenna. Shout out to Shasa. Shout out to Maureen. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to David. Shout out to Doana. Shout out to Janet. Shout out to Justine. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Armina. Shout out to Zizi. Shout out to Marvelous. Shout out to Aisha. Or Aisha, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kaysen. Shout out to Celine. Shout out to Jesvi. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Eliza. Shout out to James. Shout out to Braylon, happy birthday. Shout out to Khaleesi. Shout out to Ryle. Shout out to Betsy. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Cheyenne. Shout out to Alex R. Shout out to Drex. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Micah or Mika. Shout out to Juliana. Shout out to Jed, happy birthday. Shout out to George. Shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Rihani. Happy birthday. Shout out to these people. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. I also post other content on my channel. I hope you can check it out. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe so you know when I live stream. I will be live streaming again tomorrow. So please subscribe so you know when I live stream. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to write your name. I will see you all next time. Have a great day or have a great night. Take care. Bye.